Kamusta na kayo?
Hola, hola, everyone.
What's up?
Oh, there we go. We finally got an English-ass response from one of our guests.
I'm the first one?
You're the first one to do it in English.
I was going to say hola, but I feel like that's kind of like cliche a little bit, you know? But
I say hola.
Yeah, Jackie says hola, hola all the time,
I was
man.
practicing my intros in the car. I was like,
How am I going to
mucho gusto. Soy Louie Franco.
Well, for people who didn't understand Spanish, he said he is Louie Franco. Shout out to our boy Louie Franco, man.
Thanks for having me on. Excited to talk Mexican, Filipino stuff, I guess.
Yeah, and also Salvadorian. Louis also
Yes.
Salvadorian.
Shout out to all my Salvies out there. I'm half Salvadorian, so.
You feel me?
Yeah, today will be Mexican Salvipino podcast. Is that how
Mexidorian Pino.
Mexidorian Pino?
Mexidorian Pino.
See, if you put the Dorian, it kind of sounds like Mandalorian too. So I think Mexasalvipino makes the most sense out of this
Mexasalvipino,
situation.
okay.
We'll go with that.
We'll just go
Yeah,
with that
shout out to our boy Louie. So if y'all who don't know, Louie is actually an artist from Pinole, California. That's all the way in the Bay. You feel me? And he's a dope. How would you like neo reggaeton artist?
You know, it's funny because I just uploaded a new single to DistroKid to release in May, and it's asking me for the genre, and I'm like, I don't know. Because it is reggaeton, but then it is a little bit, it has English, lyrics. It does have some like rap or hip hop elements. So it's like, I don't know where it fits. Like, it's not truly just reggaeton. It's not truly rap, obviously. So it's like, neo reggaeton is like what we're calling it. We've been calling it for a while now, and hey, hopefully you can blaze a trail.
It's kind of like The Weeknd meets Bad Bunny, somewhere in that realm.
That's exactly how I would describe Louis' music.
Yeah,
that's like the highest of compliments. Thank you.
Yeah,
two of my favorite artists. So I think it shows.
Oh man, yeah. He just Louis actually also just got back from the Bay. He was driving, so I was actually very nervous, y'all, because Louis, I saw on his story last night that he was driving from the Bay to over here in LA, and I'm like, is this motherfucker even gonna make it to the podcast, man?
Normally we record, guys, for everyone who's listening, we record at, I would say 3 p.m. We're here at 10 a.m.
Oh God.
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Hella
Nico's
coughing.
Trying to wake up. Louis clearing his throat. I over here got a slight cough, and we're just
I know, it's
shit, we're
crazy.
struggling.
Yeah, but Louis, you've been traveling so much, man. Where were you over these past couple of weeks?
So I went to New York for the first time. And,
Nice.
So every time I go somewhere, I have a dog. For those of you who don't know, Xavi. Shout out Xavi.
Shouts out to Javier.
He's with my mom right now. He's chilling up there still. But every time I go anywhere, I have to have my mom take care of him, obviously. So I don't trust dog hotels.
Yeah.
No offense.
I just booked a dog hotel for my dog this weekend.
Hey, good luck. I'm kidding. It just, I'd feel better. I can call my mom and he's there, right? But yeah, I went up to the Bay. It was also my mom's birthday last week.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom. Feliz cumpleaños. I can say it regular. Feliz cumpleaños. I don't know why I said it all gringofied or whatever.
He says it how I speak in Tagalog, just hella gringofied.
Feliz cumpleaños. Anyways, I went to New York. It was the first time ever going out to New York, and it was great. I did a lot of sightseeing, a lot of walking.
Nice.
A lot of drinking. It was fun.
Nice.
Cool.
We went out for my boy Mike's birthday. Happy birthday, Mike. A lot of birthdays.
Damn, hella birthday. Sheesh. Feliz cumpleaños.
Feliz cumpleaños, Mike. And so we went out there, and it was beautiful. I got to see a lot of cool things. I ate it at Bodega for the first time in my life. The chopped cheese. That's what they call it out there.
I don't think I've ever had a bodega either.
They're everywhere.
Wait, I thought a bodega was a store, a convenience store.
They are, but they sell food inside that convenience store. So one night after a bar, we went to a store to get water because we didn't have water at the hotel. Everyone's lining up to get food, and I'm like, wait, I've heard about this, right?
I know what this is.
This is a bodega. Maybe I'm wrong, so whatever. But I'm pretty sure this is what a bodega is, and I ate the most amazing chopped cheese, whatever deli sandwich ever.
Nice.
I was in love with it. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah, great food. Great great city. It's a huge city.
Did you buy any Tims over here?
No, I didn't buy any. I didn't even see any Tims on anyone.
Really?
What? You didn't see any Tims in New York?
I didn't see any Tims in New York.
That's crazy. I feel like
I don't think I was looking actively, like,
yeah,
shoe checking everyone, but like, no, I didn't see anything.
But I feel like over here in the West Coast, like we totally judge people from New York because they wear Tim. I mean, not judge is such a wrong word, but we stereotype New Yorkers wearing Timberlands.
It's like the meme, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
I guess so. It's like the New York starter pack, I guess.
Yeah, one of those like New York starter packs, and then like they also like go to the bodega. That's how you. That's
and that's how like I'm kind of. That's all I know about New York. So I'm like
Tim's
bodegas.
Okay.
Dead ass, like
So since we're on the West Coast, what is a West Coast starter pack for guys and for girls?
Ooh.
Man, that's a good one. I think I think it depends on where you're at, like in the Bay. I think the meme that I've seen is like tall tees, jabots,
and
Air Forces,
anything that you
the high top Air
North
Forces.
Face.
North Face. I'm guilty. I like wearing North Face puffers, and I live in LA, so it's like the terrible spot to have a puffer. But in the Bay Area, like it's not that hot all the time. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great.
So I think I agree with you there. A fitted cap.
Yeah.
I think that's like a Bay Area
I think like the LA starter pack would be like this guy wearing like a Dodgers hat. He has a white tee. He has these like black pants, and he's wearing Vans.
I think you definitely hit it on the dot. That sounds like an LA starter pack.
That's what every guy wears to like Dodger Stadium too when they go to a game.
What it reminds me of is the starter pack for like Dallas Cowboys fans. I don't know if you guys have
I saw that.
It's like long jorts, like jean shorts, a Dallas Cowboy jersey.
Oh my god!
And some Nikes and like some like Lokes or something.
You know what's hella funny is that one of my uncles is a Cowboys fan, and
really?
he fits that exact meme.
And then like under the meme it says "We Dem Boys." It's it's like the funniest thing. Like I'm a Niner fan, so f the Cowboys, but
f everybody except for the Niners.
Yeah,
man.
exactly. Yeah, shout out Trey Lance, man.
Okay, I have another question. What is a Mexican starter pack?
Ooh.
The Edgar Cut.
The Edgar Cut. I was gonna say the Edgar Cut. I was gonna.
Wait, can you describe the Edgar Cut?
It's like a bowl cut, but like it just looks so bad.
It's like your hairline's here, right? And the hair comes down a little bit, and like you tame it down, and like you just cut it.
Yeah, it's like a short, like what is this like?
The side, the lineup,
Yeah,
whatever.
the lineup. It's like so close to your eyebrows, it looks weird, and it's just like, yeah. I think, this is stereotypical haircut, the Edgar Cut.
I'm not gonna lie. So when I first moved out from the Bay to LA, like I got a haircut, and normally in the Bay I get haircuts from like Filipino guys. Not not necessarily like I only want to go to Filipino barbers, but just because that's just what I was always around. So when I moved out to LA, I got cut by a Mexican barber. And, at that time, I kind of had a little bit of like a comb over and whatnot. But after he cut my hair, I just looked at the mirror. I was like, what is going on? Like, I literally asked for the exact same thing, but I did not get the same result.
You're like, I came in Filipino, left Mexican.
Yes, and I left Mexican.
The forced Edgar on him.
Bro, for real. And people start talking to me in Spanish. I'm just like, mi no habla. You feel?
It's funny because
Hablo?
You know what's funny? Like you could pass as like a Latino. Like when I first met you, I was like, "Are you Mexican?" Or like,
well, dude. Well, first of all, I'm gonna get to that, but let me just wrap up this story. Like when I ended up getting cut by a Filipino barber, I asked literally for the exact same thing, Filipino barber over here in LA, and I got literally what I wanted. I was like, "What the hell, man?" I don't know.
Maybe it got lost in translation.
Yeah.
That's
funny. God.
It's probably like Filipinos know what Filipinos want.
Mexicans know what Mexicans want.
Yeah, facts, man. There's definitely a difference between the barbers.
Yeah,
for sure. I think we might need a barber on here one day.
That'll be fun.
We could get John.
We could get John.
Yeah.
But Louie, what did you just ask me right now?
When I first met you, I was like, "Are you like you look Latino to me?" Like,
yeah.
I think that happens a lot with like Filipinos and like. I think the biggest thing is like the last name, right?
Yes, yes.
Louie Franco, right? It's your last name. I've met a lot of, Filipinos with like Spanish last names. We all know the history behind that,
like,
right?
Yeah.
The
So,
Los
like-
Santos and Sanchez.
Right. So it's like I think that confusion comes from a like understandable place, like especially for people that don't know like Latinos in general, like they just kind of mix everyone together, right? So like, but when I first met you, I'm a little bit guilty of that. I'm like, are you like Mexican or something?
Yeah, you know what?
Mix, what is he?
You know what? Now that you bring that up, it's a very interesting point because you know how you just said like, people generally like group all Latinos together. So if you're like Mexican, Salvadorian, like what have you, like they're all grouped.
Yeah.
When it comes to Filipinos, we're not necessarily grouped like with anybody. Well, we're not necessarily grouped with like Asians, right? Or Pacific Islanders. But to Louie's point, like when people do see us, they might group us as like a Latino because we look Mexican. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like you said, when Filipinos aren't grouped as like Asians or Pacific Islanders, you're kind of just like your own soul, like, race and ethnicity. And it's just like, well, what do we do now? Like, I think that's when it stems, like, what box do I check off when I'm taking a test? And like, it
for
asks,
sure.
like, are you Asian? Are you Pacific Islander? You're like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm not grouped with anything.
Yeah, I don't really know about that. I mean, it also brings up the question like, and I've had this conversation with multiple people of like so many different races. I never really know how to feel when people say Filipinos are the Mexicans of Asia.
I'm sick.
What does that even mean?
That's what I'm saying. I have no
Are
clue.
Mexicans the something of something else?
Well, I think if I can interpret it any other way, and I was thinking about this right now, is when a non-Latino, right, or a non-Mexican or whatever, sees a Latino, the first inclination is, oh, you're Mexican, right?
Yes,
They use Mexican as a term to like group every Latino that exists.
That is very true.
So you can
we tend to do that a lot.
From Colombia, and someone that doesn't know what they're talking about, I guess I'll say, is, oh, you're Mexican, right? Like, no, I think what they're trying to say is you're Latino.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that's one way I can interpret it. There could probably be a different way to interpret it. But what does that mean? Like, Filipinos are the Mexicans of the...
Of
what?
Asia. Like, I will say, like, growing up, I did, just because I wasn't aware of like all the other types of Latinos that there was, like, I just assumed that if you spoke Spanish, you were Mexican.
Yeah,
and
same.
so then it wasn't until I got older where I was just like, okay, there is different like types of people that are like different types of Latinos that I need to be aware of. And then I think now I've gotten better as like knowing who's Mexican, who's Colombian, who's Cuban, who's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, asking those questions. Like, well, I know you're Latino or Latina.
Yeah.
But like,
where are you from?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll admit, like even growing up too, because there was a lot of Filipinos like where I grew up. So if somebody was like of Latino descent, like I would always just consider them Mexican. Yeah, it was weird.
I think that's like everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's just
Has
a safe bet. Like,
Yeah. I mean, hopefully by the time you grow up, you understand that was just your innocence, that just like, innocence is bliss, right?
Yeah.
But hopefully when you grow up, you're not literally stereotyping everyone as like, everyone's freaking Mexican.
Yeah, that's very true. And it goes like, and not like to get a little deep into it, it goes back into like when people are being like racist towards Latinos, like they just group everyone as Mexicans.
Oh,
They
yeah.
like, go back to where you came from type
Go
of
back
thing.
to Mexico.
Yeah,
It's
go
like
back to
usually
Mexico.
the-
It's like, dog.
line that
Like,
I-
what if I was Colombian? I'm like, bro, I've never even been to Mexico. Like, I'm Colombian or some shit.
It's
you know?
the stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is definitely a stereotype.
Yeah, it's definitely the stereotype. So, Louie is, again, he's half Salvadorian, half Mexican. And I didn't realize as a Filipino-American that there was, I guess, some beef going on. I'm not entirely sure.
I never understood that. And like, this is one of the topics I wanted to talk about. It's like unknown, I would say racism in a way, right?
Yeah, it's like
people don't know.
internalized
Yeah, it's so weird.
racism.
Like, I'll have family, growing up and I've never been to El Salvador just because it's known to be dangerous.
Yeah.
My dad and his whole family, they left because of the war that was going on
Oh, wow.
when they were out there back in the 70s and 80s. And my dad, since he's came to the United States, it's been like over 30 years now. He's never went back. And I have family out there that I've never visited. Another topic, but going back to the question you asked, it's like growing up, I would always hear some of my aunts or uncles like talk shit about Salvadorians, like es Salvadoreño, ugh. Like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never understood that. Growing up, I was conflicted because I'm like, well, hold on. If you guys don't like each other, then why are my parents married?
It's like, if you don't like each other, then do you not like me? Like, because.
But like, there's like, it's on both sides though. I'll say it's on both sides, and it's like not only even limited to Mexicans and Salvadorians. You have that, with people that are from Honduras or Guatemala, Nicaragua. Like it's rampant all over Latin America. I've obviously only seen it from the Mexican and Salvadorian side because that's where I'm from. But it's definitely some, I wouldn't even limit it to some sort of race. It is pretty racist, like.
Yeah, I would say.
And they don't call it out. It's just kind of like the norm a little bit.
Yeah, like. and it's kind of like, I feel like our generation growing up, like we've heard it and we just kind of like, we're just like, okay, like that's kind of weird. And now we don't even know. I feel like our generation doesn't even know why we say that, and we just don't even associate that type of hatred within us, Yeah.
So,
but like our families, like our parents and our grandparents, like they will loudly vocalize it. And like I know, like still, like some of my family members, they'll say like, oh, like a Salvi or this and that. And I always thought like Salvi was like a derogatory term, and I'm not sure if it is.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but the way that even if it's not, the way they just said it was just like, it felt like it was a derogatory term,
Yeah. Like there was a time where I was actually over at Jackie's place, it was like a party and whatnot, and me and Jackie were having this discussion because I'm over here just like, I don't know what this beef is. Do you remember what your uncle said?
What?
Why your uncle said there was like some sort of like beef?
Oh, my uncle was saying that like, he was saying that the reason he thinks that there's like beef between like Mexicans and Salvadorians is that we think that we're better than each other in certain things. And like socially, like Salvadorians think that they're better than Mexicans. Mexicans think that they're better than Salvadorians. Salvadorians are too loud. Mexicans are too loud. And we're just like constantly bickering at each other and butting heads. And it's just like, it's just trying to one up each other and trying to prove that like, we're better than you. Yeah,
I can see that. And, to my last point, just growing up in both families, there was never an answer. It was just constant bickering, like you said. And like trying to, I think your uncle pretty much got it. Like, who can say what they're better at than the other?
Yeah.
Right? And thankfully it's quieted down, in terms of like what my family talks about and how they perceive each other, like to a point where now they all kind of congregate together, which is great, because that's how it should be, right? No race or no ethnicity is better than the other, but
yeah, for sure.
Growing up, it can be a problem because as a younger kid, you're soaking up all this, your parents' perspective or your family's perspective of another race or ethnicity, and that's how you start to think.
Yeah.
Because you don't know any better, right?
I mean, that's how it is. Like, and I don't know if you can attest to this, but like in Mexican culture too, like we viewed, or our past generations viewed, like, Black people as just like, you don't talk to them, you don't date them, you don't like, and I know it's also in Filipino culture too.
It is.
And it wasn't until recently, like, again, our generations are the ones that are breaking the cycles of, that's not how it's supposed to be, and that's not how it should be.
Yeah, and people don't talk about that enough. I think that, there was a huge movement, still a huge movement going on with BLM, and a lot of the focus is, white nationalism versus, the African Americans in the United States and all over the world.
Yeah,
but it's not just limited to that.
Yeah,
and I've definitely been, I've seen situations with my own family where they say racist things about, African Americans, and it's like, that's not talked about enough.
Yeah.
And I do think that this generation is breaking those barriers, so that not only the older generation can, see what they've been doing wrong and changing their perspective, but making sure that perspective is completely erased moving forward into the other generations.
Yeah, I totally feel that. I mean, even growing up as, Filipino, it's funny. Like, it didn't really, like, occur too much in my family, but, like, even with the telesarios or, like, like the movies, like, it's always portrayed like Black people are not are not like welcome in the community type of situation. And, you know, again, this is for like the older generation, so we're not trying to get this skewed, right? We're not trying to get this skewed up. But yeah, I think nowadays we are doing our absolute best to make sure that that narrative does not get pushed anymore. Damn, there was like a point that I wanted to say. I think when it came to oh my God, it was just literally on the tip of my tongue. Jesus Christ.
Well, while you think of
yeah,
that.
I'll think of it.
I think something that's also getting kind of canceled within Mexican culture too is the chancla culture.
Oh man, that's a huge topic.
Right?
The chancla culture?
Chancla culture.
I think it's like, to broaden it a little bit more, it's like the way
you discipline your kid.
Exactly. The way we discipline.
Okay.
Yeah, because
that's how we like talk about like disciplining. Like it's like the chancla culture. Now it has a name now. It's like the chancla culture. It's how you discipline your kid.
Wait, so is that like a universal term for Latinos?
I would say now, yeah.
I've never heard it, but I know.
I would say yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, when you were growing up, what did you get hit with? Chancla, cinto, right?
Yeah.
I was pretty lucky. I didn't really get it that bad. I got hit a few times for sure, but nothing crazy. But I've definitely heard stories, especially from the generation prior to my parents, my grandparents, right?
Yeah.
The OGs, right?
Yeah,
they had
got
a different way.
Really bad.
They got it bad. I feel like, you know, my parents probably experienced that to a good extent.
For sure.
Yeah, that was that was crazy.
So then how do you guys feel about like when, you know, you have somebody from like an older generation say something like, man, you don't even know what we had to go through growing up. Like, I always feel kind of weird about that because, you know, I feel like from the older perspective, it's kind of like they're trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
But it's like, especially with this chancla culture, right? It's like, it's very bad. Like, I don't think you should be disciplining with a freaking chancla or a belt or anything like that. So, yeah, you had it worse, but that's not to say that it was like a better way of doing it, you know?
No, definitely. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like when parents try and make that comparison of like, oh, well, you don't know the half the shit that I had it or how I had it when I was younger. It's just like, well, thank God I didn't. Like, I don't want to know. Like,
yeah. And I think even a deeper part of that is you know, let's just say, you know, the parent growing up had it way worse, right? They might have some, you know, not taking care of anger within themselves that they subconsciously or consciously take out on their, you know, children, because not only do they think that's the way because they were raised that way, but why do you think they say that sometimes? I've had it worse than you. They're kind of saying it in a way where it's like
comparing.
Like they're trying to prove something.
You're right.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I mean, these are just thoughts that are going through my head. I think the other one though is, I think the other mentality is trying to make sure they understand, like, it was worse before, you know, it is better now the way you have it, appreciate it. You know, some of the, you know, folks under our generation aren't appreciative. They don't really understand what it took for families to come out here. Not only on the growing up aspect, but like, you know, my parents were 15, 16 when they crossed the border, and it was a treacherous road. I was just talking to my grandpa Sunday when I was still out in the Bay, and he was telling me the whole story and how they had to try multiple times.
That's crazy.
So, you know, that's obviously another topic, but like their childhood was extremely different than how we had it growing up. And I think it comes from that, like, look, like,
you don't have to go through. You didn't have. We went through this, so you don't have to go through it.
And it's like a little bit of like, you don't have to rub it in my face, but also understanding that and appreciating that.
Exactly. Right? So it's funny because I actually wanted to touch this topic on the last podcast, so I'm actually happy we're doing it now. But for all of you who haven't seen, you know, my new tattoo, I actually got 1972, you know, kind of along my wrist. Now, the first joke is, oh, were you born in 1972? Of course not. was born in 93.
Bro, you're 50?
Yeah, I'm like, bro, damn, you're fucking old, bro. No, but so 1972 is actually the year that my grandfather moved from the Philippines to San Francisco. And, you know, just having conversations between like my grandpa and my mom. My grandpa literally came here with $15 US to his name. Yeah. And then he ended up moving to the Mission District in San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
And, you know, like, long story short, he was able to migrate my grandma here the following year, my mom here the following year. He ended up getting a house. And then this house actually became like the, I wouldn't say like the trap house, but it became the house for everybody to migrate to so they could start like their new lives over here. And so, you know, like, to me, like, this is what this tattoo symbolizes to me. Like, hey, just remember, like, all the difficulties that your grandfather had to go through in order to, you know, move to a completely different country, barely know, like, you know, a lick of English like the way, like, our generation does, and keep it pushing. But also at the same time, it was never something that he ever, like, pushed on my face. Like, you know, he was never like, this is what I had to do, da da da. It was just like a calm way of just like, hey, you know, like, this is just what we had to go through. So remember, like, what you're doing right now, you're not necessarily struggling as much as like I had to before. I guess it's just the way you go about talking about these things, right?
Yeah, because I will say there are Mexican parents who will try and, like, you know, talk down and, like, try and belittle you and try and just, like, make you feel bad about things. Yeah. But then I think, and I don't know, Louie, if you can, like, agree to this, but, like, at least with my family growing up, they would just tell me stories. They wouldn't rub it in my face. They wouldn't, like, you know, make me feel bad about it. And it was really cool when, like, you know, I got to learn about things. Like, I told Nico this, but apparently, so my grandpa would help, allegedly, my grandpa would help people cross the border. And
so was he the coyote or what?
Yeah, he was kind of like a coyote, but...
Wait. He was what?
A coyote. It's a coyote. That's the translation to it, but it's like someone who helps you cross over the border.
Oh.
He or she's the one that organizes and helps
the setup and like the plan
gets you through. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so kind of like the
coyote,
kind of like the ringleader of the situation, or like the leader of the pack.
I would say so. Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
So, so him and my uncle would go and pick up people and drive them across the border. Or once they cross the border, they would just drive them another way. And so he had helped a lady and her 2 daughters. And later on in life, my uncle marries one of the daughters, not knowing that it was her that he helped cross over. So then when, like, the parents met, my grandpa and then, like, my uncle's mother-in-law, when they met, she was like, she saw my grandparents. She's like, wait, you're like Doña Mari and Doña Mario. And then he's all like, and they're like, yeah, like, what the fuck? Like, how do you know us? She goes, you helped me and my daughters cross over, and now our kids are dating and want to get married. Wow. Like, what the heck? And so it's just like, it's crazy how, like, just all that, like, you can start a new life and then, like, get down the line and just, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, it's, you know, that's a beautiful story.
It is.
So didn't you have some stories from your grandpa too?
Yeah, so not as beautiful as that one. But you know, my whole and I don't know much on the Mexican side. My grandpa from my dad's side, so the Salvadorian side. So they had to cross El Salvador and then go all the way through Mexico, which was a super long journey. He was just telling me, like, it took him three tries, to get through the border. It was him and my grandma, rest her soul, and their youngest, my youngest aunt, Carmelita, and my dad and his brothers. They were already over there, so they went first, and then they went after, and they were just talking about, like, how they were squished in a bus for hours at a time, people standing, people, literally peeing on themselves because they couldn't stop. Yeah. It was too dangerous. Especially for those that are not from Mexico. Like, they're from El Salvador, so they found that out. They're getting deported to El Salvador, right? So it's like, you got to watch out for not only that, but, like, once you go to, if you do cross the border, like, you don't go just back to Mexico. You're probably going to get sent all the way back to El Salvador.
Oh, my God.
And at the time, And something that I'll admit, I don't know much about the war out there that happened, back in their time, but from what he was telling me, it was very, very dangerous out there.
Yeah.
So that's where they all got up and left. And at the time, my youngest aunt, she was like 8 years old in this environment where like you're squished in this bus, like you can't really move,
God,
can't really breathe or like that well because it's all cramped
just
in
all
one
cramped.
space.
Yeah.
Like, and going from the very bottom of Mexico, the top of El Salvador, all the way through the border of Tijuana where they crossed. Like that's a very long trip. Like weeks,
Weeks?
So,
See, I was over here thinking like hours.
No,
That's
no,
crazy.
because you have to stop and you have to like regroup and you have to kind of wait for certain like
Group
members or different
Oh.
buses or like different tactics so you can avoid certain things.
So like it's literally a mission.
It's
It's
definitely a
You
mission.
can even call it life or death. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to
'Cause
speak on what their experiences were because I've never been through it. But like from what he was telling me, it's like it's pretty crazy.
I mean, some people who like even like, and I can't even imagine because you said it's from El Salvador to Mexico, then trying to cross the border.
Yeah.
Even from Mexico to like just trying to cross the border over here to U.S., it's so dangerous that like if you get left behind, you get left behind.
Yeah.
If they can't find you, the coyote is not going to come back and try and look for you.
And I saw this documentary on YouTube once, and it resonated with me because people don't know what happens when they save up all their money to give to the coyote to try and cross, and if you can't cross,
Man.
they'll just send you back to Mexico, but like not to you where you're from. They won't give you a cab ride back to Michoacan from the border. If you're from there, you're in Tijuana, and some people just give up and they live like homeless in Tijuana. Some of them I was looking at this documentary. I think it was from Vice, and there's like a canal in Tijuana that crosses to the United States, and like they kind of just wait for their opportunity. But some just get tired of waiting and they make their life in the canal. Like there's like caves inside.
What the hell?
Like it's very sad. They're like, I was here, 10 years ago and I was trying to cross, but then I got caught up with no money and then I started doing drugs. And then their life is completely like turned around and changed. Where they, at one point they were like motivated to get out there, but it's so hard and so debilitating. And making money to get out there, it's expensive to cross. And if you don't make it,
you don't.
What are you gonna do? You have no money.
No, I get it.
It's
Because it's an all-in situation. Like I could imagine like you save up your entire life just for this one opportunity to cross the border, and then, I mean, it doesn't happen. Like, I mean, I'm feeling pretty emotional off of it, honestly.
Yeah,
like, it's very sad.
Yeah. I mean, like my mom and her parents and two of her siblings, they crossed. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 times. They crossed. It was my mom and her oldest sister, and then my grandparents. They crossed. They lived out here for a bit. I think they had to go back for some reason. And then my grandma had my uncle, and then they had to cross again. And it's like, imagine doing that with kids. Imagine doing that with a toddler. Like, like you have to carry them. You have to like make sure that they're being fed, but you can't stop moving. You have to keep on going.
The more we talk about this, the more I understand why we get it rubbed in our face.
Yeah.
You're like,
right.
Motherfuckers, we have to go all in with this shit. We have to cross a canal. We have to That's even crazy too, because like imagine just doing like one instance when you're trying to cross, right? Like your family did it multiple times. Like it's kind of insane. Like they probably, I mean, again, this is all alleged, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like they found a route.
They're all citizens now. It's fine.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's not even like, that's not the fine. Like when you make it, and if and when you make it to the United States, that's not it.
Yeah.
You have to. And I've always wondered this question. I never asked my parents for, I don't know what reason, but how did they even end up in San Francisco? Because you have LA there, you have San Diego.
There, yeah.
That's even more of a travel.
There's a reason why people keep traveling north, and I want to know why. I don't know that reason. But once you make it to your destination, you have to figure out the job situation. You have to figure out where you're going to stay. Hopefully you have people that you know, which was the case with my family.
Yeah.
I know my dad was working 3 jobs at one point, barely sleeping, and he paved the way, for our family, at least I'll say that he is now a business owner, and
Man,
you know, he's one of my biggest inspirations because not only is he a great father, but like he literally like all odds against himself, you know, in his situation, made it happen. You know, made a living here, just like a lot of other families that have made it happen. Your family, a bunch of other families that are not only law-abiding citizens that pay taxes and contribute to this country, that you can probably argue that, you know, they probably feel like they're not wanted here, especially after, you know, it's always been happening, but, you know, the last 6 years, especially when Trump was in office, it was very magnified. Right?
Definitely.
For a lot of other people, but, you know, specifically this topic, you know, my family experienced, you know, go back to Mexico type situations. Where it's like, you don't even know my background. You don't even know what I do to contribute as a citizen. Yeah. And that's another topic. You know how long it takes for someone that comes to the United States
oh my God,
to get, is it called citizenship?
Yeah,
right?
Citizenship.
Like years, like at least 10 years or something like that.
Because you can file for residency, but then like getting citizenship, I believe, takes longer than residency.
Bro, like my you guys know my cousin Margarita, right?
Yeah.
She just got her citizenship like last year, like 1 year or 2 years ago. That's and she's, you know, she's like 27, 28. And I'm just like, I didn't even know. Because, you know, like me and her just got close over the past couple of years. And she's like, yeah, I've been here for a minute now, but I just got it. Like, she said it's been at least 10 years.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. Like, granted, like people, I don't want to say they come over the right way, because there's no right or wrong way. It's just the way that, you know, your means allow you to.
Well, so let me be completely honest and transparent. So like, I kind of felt some type of way growing up. I kind of felt some type of way about people coming over here illegally because, you know, again, my grandfather, he had to go through literally the entire process. You can't just you can't just like get to the United States from the Philippines just like that. Like, he literally had to go through an entire process of just like waiting until it was like, okay, like you can actually come here and do your thing. So that being said, when I saw how he did it, I honestly did feel some type of way about people crossing over here illegally. But I've had multiple conversations with people from, I mean, you guys obviously, so people from like Mexico, Salvadorian descent, whatever, people who are from Vietnam, people who are from Cambodia. And the one reason why all of these people left their countries is because of war. So then that gave me a perspective like, wow, like, you know, like we always kid around like the United States, like why do people want to come to the fucking United States? Like, it's not that great of a country. But if you literally add in the war factor and you see how crazy it is in these countries, yeah, we do live in a better spot. Like,
it's all about surviving at that point.
Yeah.
And, you know, imagine yourself as a father or as an individual being in a country, and it's not only war, it's like, you know, it's poverty.
Yeah.
And that's
it really is.
Not to be poetic, but that's a war in itself, right?
Yeah.
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 No, it
Like,
really is.
not even
As he laughs.
Thought it was a little
Yeah.
zinger, you know?
Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, it's, you know, poverty, you know, you're battling famine, war, violence. You know, it's not just, you know,
government.
It's La Mara Salvatrucha, the fucking cartel. You know, like it's the government in these countries isn't like the United States, where like you can make a lot of criticism on how the United States operates, but it's a lot better here compared to all these other countries, and especially if you want a better life for your children, for yourself.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They're like, I don't care what I have to do. I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that perspective because they're not in their shoes. Their perspective is, why don't you just stay in your, like, do things in your country? Like, why do you have to come over here and bring your violence over here, your drugs or whatever? Because
you're like, I'm trying to escape the violence.
You know,
that's what it is.
The thing is, like, there are people that cross over here and unfortunately do bring violence or drugs, whatever that looks like. But I think that can be an argument with any country, anywhere, right? Like, you're always gonna have the great, and you're always gonna have, you know, some bad eggs or whatever you want to call them. It's like, it's not ever gonna be clean cut.
Yeah. And I know it's funny that you say that, like, no matter what country, like, you know, people are gonna bring, like, you know, some sort of violence to over there, and it's very frustrating and ironic to see that, you know, there are people that there are white people who go to Mexico, who go to vacation over there and start shit over there, and you know, and are causing a fucking scene over there, and it's like, this is my vacation spot, this is blah blah blah. It's like, well, but when you go back home and I'm just existing and you tell me to go back to my country, like, what kind of shit is that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. I think even on like a little bit of a lighter note, I also don't like it when me and Jackie actually had this conversation because I think, who was it, like Kylie Jenner or something came out with like her own tequila brand or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Right. So this is kind of on a lighter note, but still within the same umbrella. It's just like, how do you...
It's made from agave.
Yeah, made from agave, bro. But then how do you just like take someone's culture and then make it your own and then use that for your advantage in the United States, especially when that's, you know, I mean, again, it's not your fucking culture.
Yeah, they like Mexicans when it's convenient.
Yeah.
Or they like other cultures or, you know, ethnicities when it's convenient.
Hey, that's the most realest shit I heard today, man.
People love Mexican culture but don't like Mexicans.
Yeah.
That's how it is. People love to celebrate, like, you know,
Cinco de Mayo.
And
Wait,
I
honestly,
had this conversation with him.
It's not even a Mexican holiday.
Thank you. I had this conversation with him the other day. I'm like, people want an excuse to drink tequila and like take shots and play hooky from work and have tacos, Taco Tuesday, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, that's not even our culture. Like, you know, like, that's just something we fucking do, you know?
Okay, so since we're on this topic, why don't you celebrate Cinco de Mayo as a Mexican American?
Because...
Well, I just still do.
I mean, I don't.
Cinco de Drinko.
Cinco de Drinko, bro.
No, on a serious note, I think we probably have the same explanation. I'll be honest, I didn't know this until I was like after high school. Like I was pretty ignorant about it.
Oh, really?
It wasn't really a discussion in the household.
Mm-hmm.
My parents didn't celebrate it. I never questioned it. I didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the actual Independence Day.
It's not.
Like, it's not even close to the Independence Day.
I think it's our Independence Day in September.
It's somewhere around
September, yeah.
I feel bad for not knowing, so my bad. But like,
I'm pretty sure it's in September.
I'll get the date for you guys as you guys talk.
But yeah, so like I was telling Nico the other day because we were talking about Cinco de Mayo weekend, and I told him, I was like, it's a battle of Puebla, and it's when Puebla won. My grandma is from Puebla. She doesn't even celebrate it.
Damn.
The government in Mexico doesn't even recognize it as a national holiday. Like, businesses are still open as usual, but yet over here we celebrate it.
Yeah.
And then we looked a little bit deeper into it, and it's because the Chicano movement over here wanted to make it known and wanted to make it celebrated, and then somewhere along the lines it got Americanized.
You know what? And I won't. And I won't. You know, hey, great. We're getting some recognition, right? I think we should acknowledge that. But if you ask any person that's celebrating that's not Mexican, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And you ask them, why are we celebrating today? They don't know why. They're like, oh, Mexican Independence Day.
Yeah.
But they don't know the history. I'm guilty. I kind of don't know all of the history, but like, at least I'm trying to learn, I guess.
Yeah.
And at least you're aware though.
Of it. And so, like, I think that's like the most important factor. Cinco de Mayo is viewed as a day, an excuse for people to drink, right?
Yeah.
More so than it is to actually honor what it stands for. Even if it doesn't stand for the actual Independence Day, it does stand for something, right?
Yeah.
They don't even know that. So it's like,
they wouldn't even go near, like, people who celebrate it who don't know Cinco de Mayo wouldn't even go near Puebla. Let me put it that way.
I feel that.
Puebla is just like kind of like one of those, you know, poor cities, poor, you know, what is it called? There's like called a certain,
like a province.
yeah, it's like similar to where like my grandma's from, the Mexican side.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Very secluded dirt roads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
a few stores. I like that though. Like when I used to visit more often, I would always have like culture shock. Like as soon as you cross over from like we used to cross from Phoenix over to, I forget, is it Ensenada?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Bootleg Kev goes there all the time. It's like, yeah.
Oh, God.
No, he said it was a great vacation spot.
And even from San Diego to Tijuana, like there's always that culture shock where like you're used to the way things are in the United States, the way the city planning is, right?
Yeah.
So where you go into Tijuana or Ensenada, it's like, holy crap, it's a lot of crazy different looking things.
Yeah. Even the roads and driving, you're just so like,
Yeah, it's just all
I
like,
don't even know what to do. Like,
it's like dirt, pebbles. There's no like freaking like lines that show you where to
The
go.
infrastructure in Mexico isn't, at least from where I'm from, where my family's from, and what I've seen, it's not up to par for
where's
where
your family from?
Sonora, Navajo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it's not up to par to how we're used to it out here. But I like it though. It's like
it's simple.
It's
Yeah.
definitely character to it, and it's like this is how things are here. You know,
Yeah.
like, it makes you think of things differently. It makes you appreciate things as well. But
Yeah.
it's also, I don't know. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but like it's
Well,
It
you know,
feels like home.
I think that's what it
Yeah.
And
is.
like even though we weren't born there, and I think baby you can attest to this too, like when you went to the Philippines, like we're not born there. We weren't born there, but when we go and we visit, it feels like home.
Yeah, and you know, I think this also goes back to the conversations about like, you know, the older generations trying to teach us like what, you know, they had to kind of go through or what they did go through. It's just like when you go back home, you know, whether it be like Mexico or like the Philippines or wherever your family is from, you get that perspective without anybody telling you like this is what we did. Like, you know, I remember back in the Philippines, we went there for one summer, me and my sister. It was probably like, you know, 3 months ish. And literally when it would rain heavy, that's the heaviest rain in the Philippines, it would flood to all my family's houses. And the houses are already elevated. There's like a staircase just to get to the door and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, like y'all have to go through this type of shit every single year. And with that comes like, you know, there's no more crops. Imagine how that affects the fish, because my family is like a whole bunch of fishermen. So, you know, it's like once you see all of that going on, you really realize like, wow, like we really do have it pretty good over here in the U.S. because we don't have to go through this shit.
Yeah.
All things considered.
Yeah.
Minus also the fact that like, you know, when it kind of floods and you're a kid, you're just like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, this is cool.
But I think also too, like, I feel I love going back to Mexico because I just, like, my family over there is so happy to see me. And granted, like, I don't know and I don't remember everyone because there's just so many fucking people in my family, but they know of me. They know, and they want to make me feel like, you know, at home, and they throw parties for us, for like our whole family when we're there. And it's just like, we want to make you guys feel good about being here.
Yeah, I used to feel that a lot, and now I say used to because I haven't been there since I was 15. Well, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Tijuana, but I haven't been to Sonora since I was 15. So 14 years already. I need to go back.
Yeah.
But I when I was out there, you know, I used to go out there more frequently with my family, and I did feel that.
Yeah.
Funny story, not even funny, and funny now, but when I was 2 years old, I don't remember this obviously because I was 2, but I almost died out there.
What?
I got sick. I got sick out there. I think it was something to do with my asthma.
Oh.
And there was like a dust storm. From what I remember, my parents telling me, and I got like an infection or something in my lungs, and I was on like those tubes, right? And all I know is that there was tubes in my little baby body, and there was a moment where like the doctor was like, "There's a good chance that he might not make it." I made it though.
Oh my God, bro!
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Because I don't think about that often, but my parents told me, yeah, when you were 2, we thought you were gonna die, and I'm like, huh?
You're like,
well, I think about it now, I'm like, well, yeah, that's interesting. Well, good thing I did it. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, when I was out there, I guess the dust, you know, whatever happened there, and I had a really bad asthma growing up, and I grew out of it, thankfully. But back then, like, I used to have asthma attacks all the time, so I can only imagine like how that affected me as a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
But like where my family's from, it's very dusty, and like when there's a windstorm, like you're inhaling dust particles.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, Sonora is like also a bunch of like ranchos too, is it not?
Yep.
Ranchos are like
Yeah.
ranches.
Yeah. I caught that for sure. I caught that. That's like when you
assumed as much.
Yeah, that's like when you said rancheras music. I'm like, so music on a ranch.
Yeah. But
No, I can pick up on some Spanish.
But yeah, no, I made it through. You know. Another funny story. This is actually funny.
Yeah, like this one's on the lighter note.
Imagine it's not funny.
I know, right?
Well, growing up, you know, I was like 6, 7 now at this point. I remember this. You know, we went to Mexico. I don't remember the last time I was there because I was too young. So it was like, to me, it was like the first time. And I get out the car and I have a Game Boy. And then I go up to the little kids that are there and I'm like, what's up? You guys play Game Boy? And they're looking at me like, what? And I said that not in a mean way. The reason I'm saying this is because why are you guys so surprised? I didn't know they didn't speak English.
No. Well, okay, continue with your story.
You said it in English too?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
I didn't know that's so. I don't know what you guys were thinking. Like,
okay, wait, finish your story before, because my assumption went in some totally different direction.
My assumption went on your direction.
I had a Game Boy, and I didn't know they didn't speak English. I was that ignorant, right?
Okay.
And I went up to them and I was like, "Hey, do you guys play Game Boy? Like, you guys want to play?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I looked at my parents. I'm like, they don't speak English.
See, okay.
You're in a completely different country.
Yeah,
And you're in a, they're like, they don't speak English. You know?
Yeah, I was like, huh? I was so confused. I was like, wait. And I was like, I didn't really. I knew Spanish, you know.
You were a No Sabo kid?
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
but
okay.
what
What does that mean?
That you don't know Spanish?
Oh, okay,
I knew Spanish. I wasn't no sabo.
No sabo,
But I was 7 and like I didn't really exercise my Spanish outside
okay.
of being at home, so I wasn't comfortable talking just full Spanish. So you know, I had to adapt.
So
I got an Game Boy.
see, so my assumption went in a totally different way. I think
Apparently,
I think both of us, like, we have I
okay.
like.
Yeah, so my assumption when you said that, like, oh, do you guys have Game Boy? I thought you were like, you know, they obviously said like no. I thought they might have got offended because you called them poor in a sense.
Like they couldn't afford a Game Boy.
Oh, do you guys have Game Boy?
Yeah, exactly. Because you know those. I mean, I don't know if those existed in those countries, but I could just assume they didn't have it because my cousins didn't have that shit either.
It was me trying to play with them.
Yeah,
That's all it was.
No.
We got that from the story as you explained it.
Yeah.
Maybe the tone I was using was you have Game Boy?
Hey,
no.
Hey, fuckers, you have a Game Boy right here, bro.
God.
No, but like, no, like that's why our assumption went like, is that what you thought?
Yeah, that's what exactly what I thought. That's exactly.
Yeah,
what
I saw your face and I'm like, wait, how is that messed up? I was just asking a question. I was trying to play with them.
It's like he went back home. He flexed his chain like, y'all got this too.
Oh my
like,
God.
This is mine.
And maybe it probably did come off that way. I don't even realize
Maybe.
it.
Yeah.
But ignorance, right? Like I thought it was all the same a little bit. I'm like, oh, it looks different out here, but
It looks different.
you guys have this, right? Let's play, you know?
Yeah, for
I'm
sure,
coming
for
from like
sure.
my neighborhood, my friends, they all have it. They're like, you know, so I don't know what's going on, you know? Like I don't have that, what do you call it, a filter or
That
whatever.
gauge,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, gauge.
Yeah.
So I learned,
I have a funny story when I went to Mexico. The last time I went to Mexico, it was like my entire family from here, and we went over there, and they threw a party for us. And it was like people we didn't even know, people from like the town that came to, like family friends from over there. I was just like, who are all these people? I don't know. But I'm not a big fan of lengua. So
That tongue.
and so
I love that lingua.
I've never really eaten it prior until that day.
Yeah.
And then so I was just like, okay, so then they had like a whole like catering type of thing, and I thought it was carne con chile. So I like put it on my plate. I got rice, I got beans. My little cousin, she's next to me. I'm eating it, and it was like really good. And so we had like 2 plates, and I'm eating. And my aunt from over there, she comes up to me. She goes, "Oh, te gustó la lengua?" And I was like, "Huh?" And I was just like, I looked at her like, "Huh?" And then I looked at my cousin, and we're sitting directly across from each other, and she just goes, and she just spits it out.
Wow.
And I was just like, and then I was like, "Es lengua?" And she goes, See, I was like, oh shit. And then she goes, I was like, yo pensé que estaba carne con chile.
See, so this is why, and I've had this convo with a lot of people, but this is why you don't tell people what the hell they're eating until after they've swallowed it. Like, oh yeah, is it good? Because the minute you found out you were eating some tongue, you're.
Yeah.
Well, like, otherwise, you would have just liked it.
I didn't eat it. My little cousin just kind of like spit it out like on the side. She was just like, oh shit, like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, don't judge. Is this like a don't judge a book by its cover kind of thing? Like,
yeah.
Like maybe you didn't realize it was a tongue, you know?
Yeah.
Because it didn't really. Maybe it was hidden. I don't know, but like
it was like covered in chile. So like
your perspective of tongue, it's like right. Just like I think anyone, just including myself, like I don't want to eat a tongue taco. What the hell? But it was good.
Wait, you don't like tongue either?
I haven't had it in such a long time that I can't really give you an opinion.
I haven't had it since then.
But
and I was like
I'm
16 or 17.
We have beef tongue all the time at Korean barbecue.
Then maybe
Both
I've
of you
had
know
beef
that-
tongue. I don't know.
Oh,
It's the same thing.
but it's like thinly sliced. It's one like it's the way we prepare
I'm
it.
not opposed to it,
TBH.
but here's the thing: I have a list of meats that I go for before I would even think about getting a lengua taco. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
when I go to
Okay, that's
when
fair.
I go to a taqueria, I'm like carne asada,
Pastor.
carnitas,
Mm-hmm.
the list goes on, and then they had none of that, and they're like, all we have is lingua, and I'm like, all right, I guess
I'll take it.
I'm not gonna lie. Even though this is not a Mexican thing, the Doritos Locos Tacos
God,
at Taco Bell smack like crazy. It is probably one of the greatest inventions of all time.
I wouldn't go that far, but okay.
It is.
It's mid.
It's mid. It is not mid.
I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna just. Keep
it's
saying
good.
it's mid.
It's
I think
good, but I'm not like, oh my god, that's the best taco on earth. You know?
I mean, I didn't say it was the best taco on earth. I said it was one of the greatest inventions of all time.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't think it was the greatest invention of all time either.
Yeah.
I don't like shell tacos. They're kind of
Yeah.
weak.
Okay. So now let me ask you guys this question: do you prefer a shell taco or a soft taco?
Soft taco.
Soft taco all the way. Yeah.
Soft taco.
Shell tacos are Americanized tacos. They're
Yeah.
not. You don't see that out in Mexico.
Yeah.
And on top of that, in Mexico, you usually see flour tortillas with tacos instead of corn.
Corn. So you usually see like the bigger ones instead of the smaller
Yeah.
ones.
So.
Oh.
I was all like, he
Yeah.
doesn't.
I'm like, look, I don't know the difference between the flour one and the corn
the
one.
flour
Like-
one is the one that they use with quesadillas. The corn one is the one that they use with tacos. Here.
Oh.
There you go.
And there's not to hate on corn tacos. They're great. Flour is amazing though.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah,
good.
I love. Okay, I have a question. Handmade tortillas or like the pre-made tortillas?
Handmade all the way.
Period.
Shit.
You know what I used to?
Period.
This reminds me of. You know what breakfast was at my grandma's house out in Mexico?
What?
When I used to go out there when I was younger, it would be tortilla con queso, sopita de frijol, with some type of like protein. It might be might be no protein. It might be costilla.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was breakfast. So like, what I would do,
so good right now.
it would be you take the flour tortilla, and it was pretty big. You spread the cheese, the Mexican cheese, and you roll it up in a little taco. And you'd eat it, you take a bite, and then you eat some of the soup. And that was it.
Okay, wait. What if I'm getting the translation correct? Chili, no, not chili. Tortilla con queso is a tortilla with cheese, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
but
So-
Mexican cheese though, like
Because there's different.
not like shredded cheese melted.
Okay, yeah.
See, you have to be very clear with
Okay,
it because
wait.
then he's gonna like try and twist it in
So you
another
get
way.
like a slice of cheddar.
Some fucking American cheese on here melted.
I'm fucking
No,
sick.
but like, wouldn't a tortilla con queso be a quesadilla?
Okay.
See?
Oh my god. Okay, no. Because the way that Louie was explaining it, you don't melt the cheese. You just kind of roll it up, and then it's like it sits in there while you like dip it in the.
The cheese is cold. It's still
Yeah,
cold,
it's still cold, and it warms up
still
with
solid,
like the
you know?
sopita.
Yeah.
So how is it not a quesadilla?
Because it's not grilled or like fried.
A quesadilla, it needs to have that certain look.
Yeah.
Also, it just needs to look like a quesadilla. What does that even mean?
There's different type of cheese, first of all.
Yes.
You don't use Mexican, at least I don't.
You don't use Mexican cheese on quesadillas.
It's a different type of cheese, and you melt it, and then you grill it, and it's like, usually the way I eat quesadillas, it's a circular, it's a circular thing.
Yeah. Or mine is like that you just fold it in half.
I'm being stupid by saying it needs to look a certain way. Obviously not.
It's not a quesadilla because it doesn't look like a quesadilla.
But it's not a quesadilla.
It's not a quesadilla.
It's a rolled up tortilla con queso.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what you're trying to say. I get it.
Because
but it's not a quesadilla.
Nico tries to be literal with it, and you can't.
Maybe it's under the umbrella of the quesadilla family.
It is under the umbrella, but it's not a quesadilla.
It's a rolled up tortilla with queso that's not melted.
Yes, and it's Mexican cheese.
And the cheese is cold. It's not warm. It's like not melted. So
yeah. I'm not gonna tell.
You know what the Mexican cheese is when we have the molcajete.
Yeah. The little the little rectangular cube ones.
Well, yeah, that's the ones at the restaurants, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's the cheese. So it's basically that rectangular cheese rolled up in a
thing. And like put it in. You shred it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is that like a Mexican cheese stick, basically? It is, right? It is, right?
It's a tortilla con queso.
No. But I'm saying
I'm saying that the actual cheese, like the block. He's like, is that a Mexican cheese stick?
I've never heard that be called a Mexican cheese stick.
No, but you in America you could buy cheese sticks, right? So when I first saw it in the molcajete, I was like, oh, it's like a cheese stick, basically.
I mean,
I'm
just gonna keep calling it queso fresco. Queso fresco, bro. Come on.
Okay, queso fresco. Because I'm not gonna.
How did you say it?
Queso fresco.
Okay.
That's good.
Can I get one cheese stick?
Hey man, can I get one of those Mexican cheese sticks, bro?
I'm hella sick. That's
on
funny.
Cinco de Mayo.
You know what's funny is that like when we go to this birria, they'll always like talk in Spanish at the register. So I'm the one that has to like start the order. And then they're like, oh, like, they ask how can I help you? So I'm like, oh, can I si puedo agarrar dos quesatacos, blah, blah, blah. And he's just standing there. And then they give me the total. I'm like, okay, like now it's your turn.
Yeah, she points at me like he's gonna pay.
Yeah. And then
they talk to him in Spanish? Is that what happens?
They try, but then he'll like look at me. And then the last time we went, most recently, the lady was talking to me in Spanish, and then he goes, "Oh, yo hablo español," and then she looks and she's like, "Oh, okay," and then like she like you could tell she felt bad because she thought he didn't, and then he was just like, "Nah, I'm just fucking with you." I was like, "Why would you do that?"
Because I gotta I like throwing people off. Yeah, lighten the mood. Because she was like, "Oh shit!" It was like, dude, like it's just chill.
I'm just fucking with you.
Me habla español, poquito.
I hate when you talk like that.
Poquito.
Poquito más.
I knew you were gonna say poquito más. That's such a trash
I'm
restaurant.
just referring to the restaurant over there.
That's
I've
such
never
a
had poquito más.
You don't want to.
Why am I saying like poquito más? It's funny because sometimes when I'm talking English and I'll say a Spanish thing, I'll say it Americanized.
Yeah.
And I was promo for mañana. See, mañana.
Oh yeah, mañana.
Mañana. But when I'm talking, I'm like, oh, thanks for everyone who's been streaming mañana.
Streaming tomorrow?
And I caught myself when I posted it already. I'm like, wait, why am I saying
why the fuck do I sound like that?
Yeah, thanks for streaming mañana. Yeah.
I hate when I catch myself saying like salsa instead of salsa.
Yeah. But it's just I think the phonetics, right? Like you're already talking a certain way, like in English, so it's like to switch, like to code switch to like
Spanish.
Yeah, the way you would say it in Spanish is like it's not an easy thing to do.
Nah, definitely. Yesterday, I went out with some coworkers and we went to a restaurant called El Compadre.
Yeah.
And so we were all eating, and it was just like the most random group of like people that you can imagine. Like it was three of them were white, one was black, and then there was me, the Mexican. So then we're just like there, and then my friends are trying to get the attention of the waiter, and he keeps on like walking past by, and like I looked at him and I was like, I think he only speaks Spanish. So then I like as he's passing by this like a third time, I say disculpe, and he turns, and then he's all like, oh, ¿cómo te puedo ayudar? And like he starts talking to me, and I was like, are you guys ready to order? And then they're all like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And so I started the order. I was like, okay, go ahead and order. One of my friends couldn't say one of the things on the menu, so I like helped him. And then he walks away. He goes, Jackie, we need to bring you more often when we come to Mexican restaurants.
You're the designated Mexican person.
No, literally, I was like, I'm your token Mexican friend, aren't I? Like, I realized that.
You know what I've realized too is like in either restaurants or like any other place where you see a worker that's Latino, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll stick to what I know, Mexican workers that I've came across before, and especially working. I used to work at Wells Fargo, so being a banker and being able to speak Spanish to some of these individuals. And I think this is like not even just limited to like Latinos or Mexicans or Salvadorians, but like any race or any ethnicity with that they speak a different language, they appreciate it so much more when you know their language.
Oh, for sure.
So like the barriers kind of come down, right? Where like they come in, and I'll use my own experience. Like they come into the bank, and they look at me so they can see that I am obviously Latino, right?
Yeah.
And they're hablas español, sí, and then they get like a relief, like
thank God.
Yeah.
Like, because you can tell that they were already panicking in their head, trying to explain.
And I've seen this with my mom more than my dad, because my dad knows pretty solid English. My mom does know English, but she does struggle sometimes. And she asks my help for certain things. But when I used to be younger, going to the store with her, she used to stress out so much just asking a simple question like, where's the bread or whatever? Where like they struggle. And some people look at this as like a funny thing, but it's like, it's such a, I don't know if traumatizing, it's like a very aggressive word for it, but like it can be because it might make someone not want to do something, right?
Yeah.
Or ask for what they truly need. Yeah. And I think on the other way around, it's like, imagine the waiter, right?
Yeah.
Helping a group full of white people, whatever.
Yeah.
He's going to have to try his best, whether he knows good English, or maybe he does, but let's just say he doesn't, try to decipher what they're saying to the best of his ability. Yeah. That's very stressful, right? So language barriers, especially for us coming to the United States, not knowing a lick of English, I mean, that's another challenge in itself.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is why it's so important, especially, like the generation coming up, no Sabo kids that they don't know Spanish. You should go learn it. It goes a long way for those that are, coming over here not knowing Spanish English. It's like a relief.
Yeah.
Like, oh, tú sabes español? Sí. Oh, it's like almost like the building the rapport with that person is so much easier.
Well, also the benefit of like knowing the language of like, whoever it is. So if you're Filipino, if you know Tagalog, if you are, of like Latino descent, like, some Spanish, the best thing when you go into a store or a restaurant or whatever, the moment you speak that language is the second you get a discount.
No, period, though. No, or you get better service.
I think that's what I was trying to say, too, is like you get better service. It's like that relationship has built upon, the similarities, which is language, which is like a huge thing. Yeah. Discounts start coming your way.
Let me give you an extra 10% off.
You know what? Let me give you this whole round of drinks for free.
It's literally happened because like just based off of language. It's like that's how powerful it is.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how much respect is given when you share that common ground.
Yeah.
I see this guy on TikTok. He's a white dude, but he knows so many different languages.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And he's like talking Mandarin to like this, this lady, and she's like super surprised, but then like she gets super happy. Yeah. And like they like telling you like
I've seen him. I really want to meet that guy. Like he speaks like I want to say maybe like 20 different languages.
That's crazy.
So like language is a big thing. You know?
And he lives in New York, right? I think it's New York. So, like, there's culture everywhere.
There is culture everywhere.
So, I guess at the end of the day, if you want a discount from any culture, just make sure you learn all the fucking languages in the world.
And then, like, he even learns, like, kind of like the
very, it's very specific to a certain, like village, right?
Like, he'll even learn, like, those kind of, like that language.
Extreme dialects.
Like, extreme dialects.
And they're like, those are even cooler because they're like, wait. What? Yeah. Like you're white and you know this language that only really is spoken here? Yeah. Like,
and sometimes even the people are like, I don't even know it that good. Like, and I'm from there,
Okay, so question. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to speak to animals?
Man.
every language in the world just so I can know when people are talking shit about me.
Damn.
I think I don't need to speak to animals outside of my own dog. And I think me and him have like, you know how Ash and Pikachu talk? They know what's going on. Like he barks at me and I'm like, oh, you want water? Okay.
No, that has like, or he's crying.
I know what Xavier wants to tell me most of the time. Like we're connected in a way.
Yeah, I feel that.
So that's my Pikachu right there. So yeah, the ability to speak any language, that's like, God, that must be amazing.
Amazing.
You can go anywhere and like make beautiful relationships through language and not have to struggle.
Yeah.
You can know when people are talking shit about you.
Wow.
Sky's the limit. I think and I want to learn new languages. I think one of my goals that I've set for myself, I want to learn Portuguese.
Oh, okay.
Portuguese is such
Because
a language.
and where that came from was working at the bank. We had a lot of people that were Brazilian, spoke Portuguese, and I would try to talk to them because there's like similar
Words, but
not many, but like we would get through a conversation. And I'm like, you know what? I want to learn Portuguese, a beautiful language.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question,
Well, shoot.
I would want to learn German.
Scheiße.
What is Scheiße?
Guten Abend.
It means shit.
Scheiße.
Scheiße.
How did you even like learn that?
I went to Germany before. My sister and her husband, he was stationed out there in the Air Force. So I went to visit. I went to Germany. Guten Tag is one.
9.
Guten Abend.
Yeah,
9. I'm like 9.
9? I think
Glorious
yeah. Oh my God. You know, the only
reason I know 9.
The only reason I know 9 is because we play Secret Hitler. Y'all ever play? Oh, me and Louie played that.
yeah.
We played that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun game.
It's a fun game.
Yeah,
I mean,
believe it or not.
yeah. It's very fun. It's kind of like one of those. What's the?
It's
It's
like
a guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure.
It reminds me of that game. I've never played it, but it's what's
Avalon.
no with the little minion looking people.
What?
Where they're trying to like single out the one person that's sus or whatever.
Yeah.
Among Us?
Among Us, yeah.
Among Us.
Because you're trying to find Hitler, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everyone's trying to pretend like they're good or bad. Like that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. Great game.
Yeah,
Great.
hella product.
I know. Can we get that sponsorship?
Wait, who like created the Secret
Welcome
Hitler?
to the Mexipino podcast, sponsored by Secret
right?
Hitler.
Oh my God. I'm like 50-50 if I would want that sponsorship.
Right? I know, right? I mean, I'd rather be sponsored by the toy company.
Yeah, whoever the toy company is in this situation.
Hasbro.
Yeah, shouts out.
I don't know if it's really them.
Is it Hasbro?
Shouts out to Game Freak.
I'm sick. That's
Oh
hella
man.
funny.
To wrap up the language thing, I would want to learn Japanese for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Watashi wa namae wa Jackie desu.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
She said my name is Jackie. Then again, I
What
also
else do you know?
guessed.
I could say how old I am, or I can ask like nansai desu ka, which means like how old are you, and then I can be like juro. Actually, I'm not 19 anymore. I could niju san desu. That's
You know what this
23.
reminds me of? When I was in New York, we took an Uber ride back to another bar or something, and the driver didn't know English that well, like barely. He was just there. I think he was from China. That's what he was telling me. And he was there like 2 months. He was doing Uber, barely knew English, right? And I took out my phone and I went to Google Translate, and I was typing in what I wanted to say, and I chose the I think it was I forget.
Yeah.
I honestly was kind of drunk, but he told me what it was, and I was playing the translation out on speaker, and it worked.
It worked.
Wow.
And he was
That's
so
cool.
happy. He was like, "Wait, what? How are you using your phone to talk to me?" And so like I would tell him like, oh, how do we get here or something, and they would translate it, and he was like, and he would try to like tell me, and it would work, and we were communicating.
That's so lit.
cool.
Through Google. So shout out Google.
Yeah,
Translate.
shouts out to Google Translate for like building the bridges between languages.
And like the cool thing about that experience is you can see that he became a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
What I was saying earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
even
lit.
that, like me trying to communicate, it was a cool experience.
It was really cool because there was one time where I was working at the stadium, and we had a Japanese pitcher on the team at the time, Kenta Maeda, and he had his translator with him, and I was in the elevator with them. And in my head, I was like, dang, like I really want to say hi to him, but like I don't want to like say hi in English. I know Japanese, so I said hi in Japanese, and they both looked at me like, what the fuck? Like, who's this little Mexican girl? Like, and so then he asked me how I knew Japanese. I told him, I took 4 years in high school, but then I couldn't figure out a lot of the words, so then I had to tell him in Japanese, like, I don't know a lot, so like don't talk to me like with like really fast, like because I won't know a lot. And so then when he left, or we were both coming out, he was just like, he looked at me, he was like, what the hell? Like he told me, he's all like, your Japanese is really good because of the way that I was trying to kind of have those
inflect.
And like it was just like really cool. That it was really cool when you like know
language.
Shout out language.
Especially when
shout out to language.
Especially when you know a language that doesn't fit your culture.
Well, like the one universal language is actually music. And, Louie actually just dropped a song called Mañana just a couple weeks ago.
Mañana.
Mañana, bro. Mañana.
Mañana.
Yeah, it's actually my first song that I've released in 2 years. Over 2 years. I released Since Knowing You. For those of you who don't know who I am, by the way, Louie Franco. Again, I don't said in the beginning, but, here I am again. 2 years. And I dropped Since Knowing You, which was a 6-song EP back in 2020. Yeah. Right before the pandemic.
March.
It was March 6th. And 2 weeks later, we're in lockdown. So it's like, didn't really get to, push it the way I thought I was going to push it, going to the club or like, going out and trying to push it to DJs or whatever. It was very, it was very virtual. And I think a lot of great things came from the virtual aspect of being at home. Silver lining, I guess you can call it. But 2 years, I didn't drop anything. I would do certain things like covers on Instagram, but like this was a big step, like internally, like, okay, I haven't done anything in 2 years.
So for people who haven't listened to Mañana, what's the song about?
So it's about being in a relationship with someone that you're too comfortable with, but are, again, too comfortable to even leave. And both of you guys know this. Both of the people in this relationship know this. They're too comfortable to leave, but they've already lost the love for each other. So they're just there. They're coexisting. And where the word mañana comes from, tomorrow, is what it means. What I'm saying is essentially, I hope things go back to normal tomorrow. So like, I know. So basically it's saying like, along the way, she lost the love for me. She's essentially what I'm saying, cheating on me. That's why I said se fue infiel, right? Which means she's what's the word?
Infidelity.
Infidelity, right? Yeah. So, and I'm saying this kind of agreeing to like part of the verse is like, I also am doing the same thing you're doing because we're on the same page, but I'm holding on to our past and I'm hoping we can get back to where it was, but I know it's not going to happen. But we're too like comfortable and like, some people. Maybe you guys know a few people that are in toxic relationships. It's kind of what it is, right? Like they're in a toxic environment, but that's all they know. So like they don't want. So
they don't want to leave.
They're too comfortable, too attached to leave, right? So,
so
that's really what it's about. It's I never spoke about that type of relationship or situationship, and I can't really say that I've been in that exact situation, but very similar, where I was in a situation or a relationship where it was very toxic. I knew it wasn't going to work. She knew it wasn't going to work, but we didn't want to leave because it was too comfortable.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So we'll do a little bit of self-reflecting right here. What is your toxic trait?
Oh, wow.
Ooh, dang.
That's why I said self-reflection.
My toxic trait, one of them like that.
Pulls out a list.
Well, if you really want to know, I'm becoming way more aware of this now, but I was very selfish in the way I thought people would perceive a certain situation. So what I mean by that is that an argument and something that may have triggered, my significant other a certain way, I wouldn't understand. I would assume she needs to think the same way I did. Like, what do you mean that made you, like, what are you talking about? Come on. Like
not validating?
Yeah. So like, and innocently too, like, I would be like, there's no way you got mad off of that.
I get you. I get you.
But from her perspective, it might have been very different. Like, no, I'm getting mad at this because I went through a very different thing you did in the past. So not communicating that, not knowing, but also ignoring it, like not taking that into account. I'm like,
yeah.
Right. So like, I'm thinking I'm doing no wrong, right? Like, no, it was just a joke or it was just something, right? Nothing crazy, but like for them, it might be something like
very traumatizing,
insecure or like whatever it may be, insecurities from the past or like just who they are as a person. I wouldn't take that into account. So I became more self-aware about that. So I'm trying to be like, you know what? Just because I don't think it's a serious matter or something that doesn't really matter to me, it might matter to you. Instead of me assuming that, let's talk about it. You know what? I want to understand where your triggers are coming from or why you're getting mad or why you don't like this. So I can better understand. Let's talk about it, and I can. And
so you can either not do it anymore, or just like you know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, So that was one of my toxic traits. I think I probably still do it. Maybe I don't know. I'm not in a relationship, but from my past experiences, that was one that really stood out to me.
What about you, babe?
My toxic traits? I don't know.
We're going around the circle or the triangle at this point.
I don't. I feel like my toxic trait would probably like it. There's like it's all an umbrella. It's not looking at me like that. It's all umbrella. Like I feel like my toxic trait is like because I've experienced things in the past. I tend to like
think it's happening again.
And and like there's like that I have this like jealous tendency because of things that have happened in the past. I have this doubting tendency because of things that have happened in the past. And like I think my thing that I've learned with Nico is that my security is I need words of affirmation constantly. Just like I need him to tell me. And it's not like I need you to do this because it's going to make me feel good. It's like I would like for you to do this because it's just going to make things easier. And it's like if he's out or if he's doing something and he's like, hey, like, you know, I'm going to be out here. I love you, blah, 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 blah. I'm so happy that like I'm with you. And that's all I need. If he tells me that, I'm literally like, good and checked out for the night. Like I will not think about any situation.
Yeah. I think my personal toxic trait is just I get so hyper focused on something. So whether it be like work or if I'm like, you know, playing video games or whatever, or even, you know, like when I'm with Jackie or whatever, it's like I get so hyper focused that I fuck off like everything else that is around me, right? And, you know, I guess you could kind of say it's a good and a bad thing, but like when I'm working, for example, it's like that's all I'm trying to do. And like if anything else like tries to get in the way of that work, I get like immediately like, dude, like stop. Like, don't try to like get in my way with this shit. You know, even when I'm with Jackie, it's just like if somebody like hits me up and me and Jackie are out, it's like, dude, like I don't want to fuck with this right now. And you know, like I mean, I wouldn't know how to label that exactly, but it is something that I do need to work on, and I need to understand that like the world doesn't revolve around me, and if I do. Like, you know, tend to fuck everything else off, then there are going to be consequences if I do that.
Here's the thing. Like, we all like calling it toxic traits, right?
Yeah.
In reality, like, yeah, I think a lot of things can be looked at toxic from a toxic perspective, whatever. But we need to also be aware that everyone grew up differently.
Yeah.
Went through situations differently, relationships with their family, whatever, you know, siblings, friends, everyone has different traumatic experiences. And if anything, me being self-aware of my toxic trait made me think that way, or I'm trying to think that way more. Like we're all very different. And I think one thing we need to stop doing as a whole, a generation, it's like, just because you don't like the way someone looks at something, it shouldn't just be labeled automatically as toxic, right?
Yeah.
I know, that's just the way they are.
Yeah.
That's what makes them unique, whether it's right or wrong, right? And then that's where the communication comes in. All right, I as a person I'm not used to this, or I don't like this. You you as a person are this way. Like, how can we come to a middle ground? Or like, how can we compromise for the better? Right.
Yeah.
I think that's what, for me, it's like a next step into having a healthy relationship, communicating that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't communicate and you hold things in, or you just kind of like live with it, you start to build up this animosity towards a person, and it becomes worse later on down the line. At the same time, I think we should also realize as individuals, you know what, the way I am with certain people or with relationships or whatever, I don't think I'm pushing people away if I do this. Or I need to fix that somehow, whether it's talk to a therapist or whatever that looks like, right? Whatever that journey to fixing yourself or working on yourself looks like. But everyone in this world has something to work on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been in situations where I feel like, you know, this is just my own interpretation of it, where people are telling me what's wrong with me. It's like, okay, you know, I'll hear you out, but at the same time, it's like, let's not pretend your shit don't stink, you know?
Yeah. Facts.
And so, you know, we're all, you know, especially with the people that we're around, relationships, friendships, family, we're all in this together. So it's like, okay, let's talk about what bothers us, and let's also be aware of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so it's already hard enough. So it's like, it's funny when we talk about toxic traits, you know, it's like, but I think it's, you know, it gets deeper than that. Like, we all have toxic traits.
Yeah.
Everyone in the world is
for sure
a little toxic or a lot toxic, whatever. But
and like you were saying, it's not we like to call it toxic traits, and like what I was saying earlier, it's like what I need in a relationship is words of affirmation. And like, I think a lot of people need to understand each other's love languages and how you can go about your relationship to make it better, because the way my love language, which is words of affirmation, may not be Nico's cup of tea either. So like, I could tell him like, oh my God, like, you know, you're the love of my life, like I love you so much, blah blah blah, and he can take that as like, okay, this is being too much, but in reality I need that, and that may not be his. But I think it's trying to understand your partner's like love languages and how, because they might not be yours, but if your partner needs it and you can, you know, help with that, that's going to make a relationship even better. Yeah,
like if you're someone who like definitely needs like words of affirmation, and you're with somebody who does not give any words of affirmation, literally the middle ground is don't expect too many words of affirmation, but also give a little bit of words of affirmation.
Yeah, that's literally what I was, I think, concluding to.
You have
to, you have to also like look at what your needs are, and like if your partner's completely different, then okay, how do we make this work together where we're not completely sacrificing one need just to
fulfill the other.
Exactly. It needs to be
balanced out.
Yeah, like you're not changing yourself too much, because even a little bit of change for you, like if you decide to give more words of affirmation, for example, like that's good. You know, who doesn't want to be told that they're loved?
Yeah, 100%. You know? And I think that's another, I'll use it like a tool to become a healthier person. It's like,
exactly,
I'm not used to this, right? I'm not used to, I'll use your example. I'm not used to not receiving words of affirmation. I know that my partner isn't used to giving words of affirmation. Talk about it. As long as I can be okay with certain situations where he might feel it's necessary to give words of affirmation based on what I want, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's like, how do we get to a point where I know that I'm so secure in our relationship because of what we've been through that I may not need it as much anymore? Right?
Yeah.
That's like the next step, where it's like you do realize
that's lit. That's lit.
You've been through a situation in the past that's making you feel this way, because I know exactly what you're talking about. I felt that way before. I've been cheated on. I've been lied to. And I have this like guard up that's like, I don't want that to happen again. I went through the worst feeling possible, you know, through these situations, that I don't want to feel that again. So how do I get over that though? You know, with my current partner, I know I'm so secure because what we've been through, what other conversations we've had, I don't have to worry about that anymore. I think that's like the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, that is the ultimate
But that's
goal.
like, I think that's a long journey, especially for people that have been through that type of past. And that's where like, I think the other partner has to understand too, like, okay, you know, it's not coming from anywhere. I get it. But again, middle ground. I think it all comes from communication. If you don't know how to communicate, I think
You should not be in a relationship.
You should not be in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's one big thing that I've learned.
I mean, that's what I've told like Nico before. Like, I haven't shared, like, I don't think I've shared like a lot about my past with Nico, but I think he understands, like, you know, what I've been through, and trying not to like bring shit over and like my PTSD from that type of stuff. Like, and I'll say this really stupid thing, but like in a previous relationship, it was looked at as disrespectful if I had the sun visor down on the passenger seat, because it was insinuated that I had somebody in the passenger seat prior.
Man, that's toxic.
That's toxic as fuck. Yeah.
So that's why, like, and like whenever I go to pick up Nico, or like I'm coming over here, I see the sun visor down, and I have it down because I have like that sun thing.
Yeah.
I look at it and I just pick it up because I get so scared, and I don't want him to think that. But I'm like, no, he's not gonna think that, because I'm so secure in my relationship, and I know he is, that I don't need to worry about that stuff.
I think on the contrary, it's the funniest thing when like our boy Cook has just sat in my my fucking passenger seat, and then, you know, he has to like back it up all the way, and then Jackie comes in, she's like, who the fuck was sitting in here? I was like, I promise you it was just Cook. I promise.
I get what you're saying though. There's little things that that I still notice that come from my past relationship, and I don't let them bother me, but they do come to my head, and I'm like, I remember. I used to associate this with a negative.
Yeah.
Where for someone else,
it's it's not even a thing.
Exactly. So it's like, but your brain has a hard time disassociating those two things, because you went through it so many times to a point where it became normal to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that thing that's normal to you, if you brought it up to someone else, you'd be like, what? Just like us, like what?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck you mean?
That shit wild?
And that's the whole point. Like, everyone sees things differently.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know.
Hey, man. Well, I think Louie needs his own freaking TED Talk or something.
For real.
That shit was lit.
You know
we need to have Louie back on again.
You know what's hella funny? I think I give good advice, but I never fucking take it.
That's the worst, bro. That's the worst.
Like, all the toxic guys hit my line, man.
Oh my god, I'm sick.
Oh my god.
Sick.
I'm kidding.
So, Louie, you do also have like one more song dropping later in the year?
Yeah, so coming up May 6th.
In May. Oh, May 6th.
So what I'm doing, by the way, I'm trying to be as consistent as possible, so like a 2-year gap never happens again. So I'm trying to drop a single every month, or like every 40 days or something like that.
Oh.
That's what I've challenged myself with this
Okay.
year. It started with Mañana, and now we're going into early May, May 6th. We're dropping a song called El Maltrato, which means the mistreatment. So the song fuses corrido elements with hip hop or rap, right? And not by a lot. Like, the corrido elements are much more present than the rap elements, because I'm using kicks, drums, hi-hats and stuff like that are found a lot in like hip hop, rap, trap, whatever. But you quickly notice what I mean by corrido. It's not a corrido, right?
Right.
It's influenced by that, regional Mexican genre.
Okay.
And the song is about loving or trying to be with a person that does not want to be loved, that wants to and likes to be mistreated subconsciously. Not like, come mistreat me, but it's like they're used to being in relationships that are,
They're not the healthiest.
They're not the healthiest. That, mistreatment, I guess, el maltrato is very apparent. And I'm talking about, like, basically what I'm saying is like, te gusta como te maltratan. But I'm over here trying to actually love you, trying to treat you right, but they're not ready for that. So kind of in the same topic, right? As we were just talking about relationships, that's what I'm talking about. I've been in situations like that, early on in my life, and throughout my 20s, where I'm trying to be this nice guy, at least from what I think, I'm trying to be this nice, caring person, and it's not resonating. And back then, I didn't really realize that, some people just aren't ready for that, right?
Yeah.
They are used to a certain thing, or just not ready, emotionally, But this song doesn't really talk about that aspect. It's more so just from my perspective. Like, I don't understand why this isn't working, right? But it's because they'd rather have something else. They're used to something else.
Lit.
But yeah, that's what it's about. Coming out May 6th. And,
dope.
Yeah, it continues the same trajectory that I'm trying to like employ with all of my songs, where you have Spanish lyrics and you have English lyrics, like back and forth. So,
well, make sure before that you stream Mañana, and then on May 6th, make sure you stream
El Maltrato.
Yes, yeah, see,
El Maltrato.
El Maltrato.
El Maltrato.
El Maltrato.
Yes.
Before we head out, Louie, top 5 reggaeton artists of all time.
From, it's funny because I was thinking about this actually last week, and I just recently got into reggaeton way more than I used to before. Number one's Daddy Yankee for me.
Okay.
Because I grew up listening to like cumbia and like, just that type of music my parents would listen to. Mm-hmm. Then I got to rap. And then my mom, I think it was my mom, she bought, my mom's friend, she gave me a birthday gift, and it was a Daddy Yankee CD. Is it El Barrio or something like that?
Oh my God.
The one with the guy, and I listened to that back all the time. And that's when I kind of started liking like reggaeton. Like I didn't like it all the way back then because I didn't really know it. I didn't grow up on reggaeton, but that was the first artist. Second one, I'm gonna probably come off as a I'm hopping on the trend, but Bad Bunny's great.
Bad Bunny's great, man.
Bad Bunny's awesome.
Yeah.
This man lasted a whole Bad Bunny concert. It's fine.
And I get this a lot. Oh, you kind of sound like Bad Bunny. He's an influence of mine. I love the way he approaches music creatively. What he talks about is very similar to what I can relate to and what I talk about. His beats are amazing. I would put his producer Tiny as number 3 as an artist because he does a lot of the reggaeton beats you hear on the radio, and he also has a lot of skin in the game from before. Like he's well known. Search him up, Tainy. He's great.
Wow.
He produced one of my favorite Bad Bunny songs, Calladita, and he broke it down on YouTube. It was amazing.
So that was a curveball. I love that, man.
Yeah. So Tiny, shout out to Tiny. Winston and Yadel, I think, is a great duo. I had some songs growing up with them. They've been around for a long time.
They have been. They're still going, no?
They're still going, yeah. And that's what I love about reggaeton. Like
it doesn't die down.
There's longevity in this genre. Like it doesn't matter how old you are. Where like I feel like in rap sometimes, the younger you are, the cooler you look, or like the more,
you're good for like 2 years, basically.
Unless you're like Kanye or Drake or like Jay-Z, whatever, right? Reggaeton, like Daddy Yankee's what 45 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna say J Balvin's 5th for me, but just bringing up J Balvin as an honorary mention, he's really good. He's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
He's 30, I think 35, 36. Still going.
God.
He's I think he's more streamed on Spotify than Bad Bunny. For those of you who
really?
Yeah.
J Balvin?
I'm going to check this right now.
Yeah. No, check it out. I was looking at it yesterday. I hope I'm not wrong.
What about Sean Paul?
Is he reggaeton?
I think he can make the argument that his music does fall under the reggaeton genre. Yeah. Sean Paul's great. Sean Paul's great. I actually am thinking like, should I sample some Sean Paul when I get home?
Hey.
So you're actually right.
I like Sean Paul.
You're actually right, Louie. So Bad Bunny, as of right now, has 48 million monthly listeners, whereas J Balvin has 57 million.
A lot.
Yeah.
And for comparison, one of the bigger artists of the world, The Weeknd, has 77 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Man.
So, but he's up there. 50 million is crazy.
That's a lot.
Crazy amount. I think that's more than Drake.
Yeah. So who's your number 5?
Number 5 has to probably be. I love Maluma, but
Maluma.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Ozuna probably. Over Maluma.
Okay.
La Modelo.
I feel like he has a lot of.
I'm right? That's his song with Cardi B.
I think he has a lot of influence, or did so earlier on when reggaeton was becoming more of a common genre in the United States, because it wasn't always like this, where reggaeton and like Latin music in general was very much common in the radio, or like Bad Bunny, like all the other reggaeton artists today that are very well known in the United States and all over the world. That wasn't the case like 10 years ago, which is great for for the culture, for the genre, and then for Latinos everywhere. Like amazing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll be the first one to say I didn't grow up on reggaeton music because I was more on to the rap scene. I grew up on rap, right? I grew up listening to Tupac was the first artist I ever listened to. My favorite Tupac song, Still Ballin' with Trick Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite songs ever. Top 5. Because I think the first rap song I ever listened to, and I couldn't stop listening to it.
Still ballin'.
Yeah, it was great. And then listening to, you know, I grew up on a lot of Southern rap. And reggaeton wasn't like a thing for me, at least.
Yeah.
Outside of Daddy Yankee, the CD that I got, wasn't a thing until more recently, like maybe 5 years ago, I started listening to reggaeton a little bit more.
Lit.
And now that's what I listen to the most. And
That's
that
good, bro.
made me want to, you know, implement my roots, my culture into my music. Because before I was really against using Spanish or speaking Spanish in my music. I thought it was corny.
Yeah.
And I was very wrong. I was so wrong. Like I wish I started doing this.
Love
Yeah,
it.
dude, y'all don't even know the amount of conversations I've had with Louie whenever he's made like a Spanish, like, you know, English song. I'm like, bro, keep running this shit. Oh, this is your best shit, bro.
I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self, dude, it's okay. Like,
it's okay.
You can, because I was trying to be this rapper. Rappers don't speak Spanish, you know, like this whole persona. Like I wasn't trying to be who I really was. And
Yeah.
now, you know, it's so much more. I'm more comfortable doing this. I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
I'm speaking my language, you know, and even more so now, my parents are able to listen to my music and actually understand what I'm saying more and relate to it, and you know they like it a lot more. So that's cool, man. You know. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Mañana is streaming everywhere now. El Maltrato, May 6th. And if you follow me on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, you'll see a lot more content at It's Louie Franco. Single a month. That's the goal.
There we go. I love it. I love it. Well, everybody, make sure you follow Louie Franco. ITS Louie Franco. My name is Nico Blitz.
I'm Jackie Ramirez.
And I'm Louie Franco.
This is the Mexipino podcast, and we are out, everybody. See you next time.
Adios.
Peace out.